it's great to have you on the show. It's brilliant. Thank you very much for joining us. Maybe if it's okay with you, give me a bit of an insight into kind of how you started the business and why you started the business, really.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on your show, first of all. So my starting point was really my background. So I studied as a chemist. I've got a master's in pharmaceutical chemistry, and prior to starting my own brand or company in this space, I was really working in industry. So I worked for a varied range of pharmaceutical companies and cosmetics as well.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I saw kind of behind the curtain of how the products were made, how manufacturing is done, what goes into making products, the processes that are involved, especially the ingredients as well. And it probably doesn't surprise you to know that a lot of the big brands just have a handful of manufacturers that make their products.
Sure.
So it's not like each company has an in-house team that is making specific products for that company. I think more of them are going that way now, probably because and the trend is changing. But definitely historically, there's just been a few big companies that kind of make all the products for all these different brands. So I kind of, with that kind of background, I just thought I've always had an interest in men's grooming and fashion and design.
Sure.
And kind of that mixed with my education and industry experience, I thought, I could definitely bring something unique, different to the table. When I started the brand, there was only a handful of like high-end men's grooming brands or high-end.
Yeah.
A lot of them were sort of fairly basic, like L'Oreal type, just catering to mass market. And there wasn't anything that was kind of more aiming for the higher end, or there wasn't brands that were more distinctive, which is kind of what I felt was missing. There was either like supremely high, expensive brands like Tom Ford, which is probably out of reach of a lot of people, and then there were like the cheaper brands like L'Oreal, which is something you pick up at, I don't know, Superdrug or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my starting point, and from there I just started testing a load of different products. I started with beard grooming products, and I tested probably close to 100 different products, just bought loads of samples, kind of looked at the ingredients. I tried to understand, or I tried to figure out what I liked about the products and what I didn't.
Yeah.
And from there, that's kind of where I built my first sort of two products after doing quite a lot of research and designing a product that I felt was good enough for me, and I have really high standards. So I was scratching my own itch, basically.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And this was 2017, right?
Yeah, I incorporated the company in 2016. I probably started my research before that.
Yeah.
But we first launched the products December 2017.
Yeah, cool. Yes. I mean, obviously, this what we're talking about here is that kind of direct to consumer e-com sort of journey and stuff. So I think what I'm really interested in is kind of getting under the hood as to the kind of challenges you've had around that and the website and kind of growth and all those sorts of things. Because I think people watching they'll get something from it, which I think is really, really cool. Okay, excellent. So what's your role on a sort of day to day? What's the things you're doing now? You're here like what, 8 years later? What's your day look like now?
Well, my hair's gone, as you can see. It's more, I'd say it's more focusing on the teams and the people that I have that are working on specific areas. And I'm always keen to just get updates. So it's more focusing on, so I know my weaknesses and my strengths. I'm a product person. Like,
Sure.
I come from a product background. My strength is the creativity and the product.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned, all the difficulties like marketing and understanding branding and all that stuff. That's the stuff that I've had to learn. And as you do when you're starting off, you wear many hats, and I still wear a few. So, yeah, day to day, it's catching up with like all the marketing aspects, looking at ad spend, what's working, what isn't working,
Yeah.
inventory. I just have tons of emails every day, so I try and batch those at a specific time. Same with meetings, or try and batch meetings. Yeah, so it's more kind of more of a business management role now
Yeah.
rather
Right.
than
Yeah. Sure.
product
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
But I try and, have some time where I think about products that are working and what isn't working, and looking at
Yeah.
trends of products as well that are working in the marketplace
Yeah.
that
I
we
think
might want to be interested in. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that a lot of the people I speak to are product people, and so they have an
Mhm.
idea or a vision, and they want to take that to market. So it's very, it's similar. So what about in terms of sort of growth? Here you are 8 years later. What would you say is the sort of biggest challenge in the last couple of years?
For me personally, I think it was my own development, if I'm being honest. I
Yeah.
think learning the skill set and me delegating has been very difficult. I try to do everything myself, and probably have a bit of a like perfectionist mindset or attitude, but it's finding the right people and letting them take lead on certain things that
Yeah.
they're probably better at me than, at doing those roles than I am. So
Yeah.
that's been a challenge for me personally, just like outsourcing more and um, sharing responsibilities more than anything.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I guess it's just the learning. Like, there's a lot to learn. And if you don't have, an e-com or a marketing background, or if you don't understand like Shopify, TikTok,
Yeah.
Amazon, Facebook ads, like these are all different channels, and you don't necessarily need to know all of them, but I think you definitely need to master at least one,
Yeah.
because you need one channel that's gonna help you scale, and then you can kind of grow on the other platforms. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're finding that we've had like we kind of focused on Amazon a lot, and when we started in 2017, it was a different place. But Amazon now, I
Yeah.
mean, it's still good, but it's just extremely competitive, and it is growing. It's just hard, it gets harder, and there's more
Yeah.
brands every day. So
For sure. Yeah.
we've kind of tried to focus. So once we've got like our brand awareness, and we've kind of, we're known on that marketplace, we've tried to now grow and focus on the other channels like Shopify and yeah.
What do you think?
Unique.
I mean, you mentioned that about the sort of learnings and how, as a product guy, you've had to pick up all of these things. What do you think the biggest learning so far? I mean, e-commerce is one of the things I love about e-commerce. It moves so fast. What do you think's the kind of the the one thing that or the biggest learning, if you like, so far?
That's a good question. For me, I think marketing is probably the big one, because
Sure.
I've had to learn how to market the product, or understand the mindset of someone who wants to buy.
Yeah.
And when you're a consumer, you don't really think about all the steps it takes to buy. So even now, like if I do buy a product online, I'm trying to be conscious of like what makes me buy this product. Where did I see it first? Do I Google it first? Do I go on Amazon? Do I check
Sure.
social media? So understanding the process of wanting to buy a product has been enlightening for me, or it's still
Sure.
something that I've had to learn. And then being on the other side of that coin, not being a consumer, but selling your product, like selling doesn't come naturally to me as a product guy. So understanding how to market our products
Yeah.
and sell them in a way that grabs someone's attention. If you're talking top of funnel, like that is a skill set. That, and then writing good copy, or having a landing page that makes someone buy the product. So
Sure.
to hook them, and then give them reasons to buy the product.
Yeah.
If you're top of funnel,
Yeah.
that's been the biggest challenge but growth area that we're seeing, and we're still working on it.
Yeah.
It's not something that we've affected by any means.
Have you a lot of what we see is that customer acquisition costs kind of rising and rising? Is that something that you're seeing? You've seen yourself?
Yeah, acquisition costs. We're seeing that. We're trying to combat that with there's obviously retention marketing. So ours is a product that is, it's not just a one-off use.
It runs out, right?
It runs out, and you need to buy some more. And
Yeah.
if the product's good and if people like the product, they will buy it again. So we do have that, in the back of mind. But yeah, costs are always rising. And
How do you tackle that?
we're in the process of just trying to create more organic content, and
Sure.
we're in the process of kind of launching, I should say, launching or releasing a lot more organic content, and hopefully doing the organic reach and kind of not spending on ads or relying on ad spend so much. I feel is the only real way to have kind of more of a long-term success. It's kind of like Amazon. If I break it down in Amazon, because I know Amazon a bit better, it's like you have your organic rank, or even Google. You have your organic search, then your paid search. And if you're just relying on paid search all the time, those costs are just going to keep rising.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're organically improving your rank, you're getting that organic sale. So you're not, relying on the ad spend, and then obviously your combined or overall acquisition costs will come down because of the organic buyers.
Having a good mix, isn't it? Really, I think that, and not being over reliant on Amazon, Google, or whatever it might be.
It is, and it's also, you have to factor in the budget as well, because we're a small company and small brands don't have an unlimited budget to just spend on ads. I'm sure the bigger brands do, but when you're starting off, it's you've got to really focus and know your numbers, which has been a mistake I've made quite a few times. I've not known my numbers. So.
Excellent. What do you think? What do you think about the future? What do you think of the kind of the advent of AI and those types of things? How that might influence the direction of e-com over the next year or so?
Well, it's definitely going to grow. There's no doubt about it. I was at a TikTok event yesterday, funny enough, and they're introducing several AI models already into their kind of back-end platform for advertisers or media buyers. And so, they've got AI tools for creating content, for helping with ads, for helping with video scripts. So, I mean, they're going fully in on AI. I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Sure.
I think it's just going to be part of the culture. Like, I think it's becoming more and more realistic as it is anyway. But even if people accept the fact that there are AI ads, I just think they'll, I don't think it will be a negative. I think it will just be like, it's normal now.
Yeah.
And so, if it converts or if it performs better than, regular ads, and it's a lot cheaper and quicker to do, then I don't see it going away.
Yeah, that sounds good. And so, in terms of you were talking about your challenges over the last 7 years. What would you say is the biggest challenge in terms of kind of from a growth perspective? Is that the kind of the ads, the retention, the conversion? What's the thing that's giving you the biggest headache?
For us personally, it's been more on the supply chain, actually. Yeah, it's been more of the process and the kind of infrastructure of the business, as opposed to just marketing and ads. Because we do have good reviews, generally speaking.
Yeah,
people do like our products, so I'd say it's more getting the processes that we have, because our products aren't the easiest to make, and because of that, we have multiple suppliers for each product and different parts of the product. We have a very, I don't want to say very complicated, it's just not a straightforward supply chain where we have one supplier that makes the finished product and that's it. Because we have multiple components for each product, and each component is typically made from a different supplier. It's just managing all of that, managing the lead times, and then COVID was a big issue for us, obviously, because everything was shut down, so that played a bit of a
I guess. I mean,
well.
it's a good point you make there, because I think for a lot of e-commerce businesses back then and during COVID, the challenge wasn't about creating demand. There was demand there because no one was going into shops and all those types of things. The challenge was getting the product to these to the get the product made and out to people. That was the issue.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the demand was there because that was the only option, right? It's like you had to buy online, so
For sure, yeah.
it is a lot more convenient to do so. But yeah, we're still having challenges with our supply chain. I think that's been the big one for us, is just managing that and getting a robust process around our supply chain where it just works without having to manage so many moving parts. That's probably
Yeah.
been a big one for us.
Yeah. No. How have you? Well, what have you done to try and overcome that?
We try and implement processes, so we are in the process of implementing a new process. You
Yeah.
bought like a lot of process. Yeah, and we're actually looking at implementing more of an AI function into that. So we're trying to leverage AI where we can to, help us with our forecasting to better predict when we need stock or when we need to order a certain raw material.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really what we're aiming at, or what we're looking to do going in the future to combat that. But yeah, I mean, I think every business is different, but it's kind of what sets us apart as well, is because of the attention to detail of our products, it makes our supply chain a lot more difficult rather than just having one supplier to give us the finished product.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had to kind of be a bit more unconventional.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we stand out as well. So kind of a double-edged sword, but
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Cool. From a marketing perspective, what's been the kind of the biggest success story so far?
I think we've had some good like UGC content on TikTok. Some of it's worked really well. A lot of it hasn't. I think most e-com brands will probably find this, and at least everyone that I've spoken to, is where they have like maybe, a handful of good content out of a whole batch of really bad content that just doesn't work, or the book doesn't work, or just doesn't align with their audience.
Yeah.
So we've had one really good piece of content, which kind of went semi-viral. I think it's had over 1.6 million views now on TikTok. So that's done pretty good for us. So at least we now have an idea of, okay, this type of content works.
It's to identify because I mean, I see quite a lot. You see some things fly, some things go really, really well, and other things just that you think might work fall flat. Have you managed to identify the patterns, trends, or whatever?
Yeah, it is, and I think it's also it's everything as well. It's how the person or the content is even said. Like certain words are said, and the energy, the colors, the hook at the start, the length of the video or the content. I think it's a bit of everything as well. So yeah, and then obviously the comment section is just huge, right? Like if people are interacting with the content, if they're leaving good comments, or even if it's controversial, but it drives a lot of traffic.
Sure.
But we're seeing that helps. But yeah, that I think, yeah, we've definitely identified at least one type of ad that works.
Okay.
And so we're trying to not replicate, but kind of use similar base.
Yeah, take inspiration from the thing that succeeded. Yeah. So I guess what you're saying ultimately is it's about the creative. It really is what you're saying.
Yeah, and translating, your product or service into that creative effectively.
Yeah.
That's the key, I think, because we've tried so many times. And like you say, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
For sure. Yeah. If you had a piece of advice to give to other e-commerce founders who are looking to scale, grow, and those sorts of things, what would that be?
Just one piece of advice. I think know your market is probably an important one. So understanding your audience, like your avatar. I think for a lot of the early stage in our brand, like, we went on Amazon, we got sales, but Amazon doesn't really show you your avatar, right? It's different to ecom. And I think that's a big difference. On Amazon, it's kind of like, yeah, you have your target audience, but you're not or I wasn't necessarily thinking about, a specific person or a specific age of a specific, income level or whatever. I just had a range, or I was more broad, is what I'm trying to say. On Amazon, I think you can be,
Yeah.
but I think when you're creating content on, social media or TikTok or Facebook, and you're trying to kind of get conversions based on that content, it really needs to all align. So the product, the content, the landing page, or wherever you're sending the customer,
Yeah.
there needs to be an alignment on everything.
Got to resonate. It's got to, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. What do you see as the biggest opportunity in e-commerce over the next 12 months or so from your perspective?
I think TikTok, to be honest.
Yeah, sure.
I was quite blown away. So I went to this event yesterday. I was quite blown away. They are moving at such a pace, like it's unbelievable. And I think they're implementing. I think they're where Amazon was a while back. So they're implementing a lot of what Amazon has now into their platform, like natively. So like search ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of Amazon, kind of Shopify with their TikTok shop, and Instagram with their reels and videos. So I think for us, like we're dabbling on TikTok, but it's definitely going to be something that we focus on a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of growth there to be had.
Cool. Excellent. And so what's the one thing that you would like our viewers to walk away with after this conversation?
Hopefully some insight. I think if they could walk away with just, having a good product, understanding your market, and understanding that content is what converts. You need really good content to convert well, or to resonate with your audience. I think that's what I would say.
Cool. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. That was really good. I think there's a lot of insights there that are hugely valuable to anybody watching. So I really, really appreciate it. So good. Excellent.
Cool. Thank you for having me.